Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
Hello. And how are
I'm
you?
sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. I was expecting your call anytime, And
Okay.
I'm grateful that out of your busy schedule, you found time for me. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I also read your article about the asylum seekers, the Pakistani asylum seekers here in Sri Lanka. And
Yeah.
it's very interesting. I'm so happy that there is someone who is taking interest in the plight of refugees in this country. As you know, the world is facing a very serious refugee crisis. And here in Southeast Asia, you have very large number of refugees in Thailand, in Malaysia. I was recently in Malaysia, and UNHCR people told me that they had about 150,000 asylum seekers, and there were more waiting in queue to register. So
Okay.
it's a very, very difficult situation. What I really wanted to say to you was, I read your article with great interest, and I appreciate what you have said. But what I wanted to say was that the Ahmadis, the Ahmadi Muslims who are coming here for asylum, their background and situation is very different to other groups of asylum seekers from Pakistan. And I will tell you the reason. The reason is that other groups like Christians, they are religious minorities in Pakistan, you see. But Ahmadis claim to be part of the mainstream Muslims in Pakistan. They do not accept to be a minority.
Yeah.
So they were forced into a minority, as you would know, by the legislation in 1974. The constitution was amended, and Ahmadis were declared non-Muslims. You see?
Yes, so that makes them also a religious minority because it's a sect of Muslim Islam, isn't it?
Yeah, but they have been declared a religious minority, and they do not accept to be a religious minority because they profess their faith and their religion is Islam. It is not any other religion, you see. So it was by the assembly, the legislation, that they were compelled to not accept, but they were declared, as a minority by the amendment to Article 248, of the Pakistan Constitution. You see, and thereby there was very strong discrimination. Until then, 1974, Ahmadis were holding very senior key positions in the civil service and in the army as well. But because under the law they were declared non-Muslims, all those people who were in key positions, they were either asked to retire or they were demoted, So this is what happened after 1974. And then this discrimination went right across the board, into education and into trade and commerce. Ahmadis were denied, licenses to have businesses and things like that. But
so it's the same situation as the religious minorities, such as the Christians.
Because what I will tell you is that in 1984, General Ziaul Haq, the dictator, he declared Ordinance 20. Now, this Ordinance 20 amended the blasphemy law. And it also amended the Pakistan Penal Code 295 and 298.
Right.
Now, under 295, which is the blasphemy code, he added an additional amendment, which is known as 295C. And this particular amendment directly targets Ahmadis, who, according to them, it's a misnomer, but they call Ahmadis Qadianis, you see. So the Ahmadis were targeted under 295C, which is a blasphemy penal code. And then they also amended 298, Penal Code 298. And under Penal Code 298B and C, Ahmadis were prohibited, to claim to be a Muslim or use any Islamic epithet or use any Islamic scripture or call themselves Muslim or greet each other as Muslims, as Muslims say Assalamu alaikum. So if an Ahmadi said Assalamu alaikum to someone, he was immediately, prosecuted under 298B and C, and he was imprisoned for 3 years and also fined. And
what is the reason for all these laws to come into place?
You look, I mean, this is the most tragic thing that has happened in a country which proclaims to be a democracy and which proclaims to be, a member of the United Nations and is a signatory to the UN Charter of Human Rights and all the other declarations, So actually the history, of all this opposition, very aggressive, violent opposition to Ahmadis in Pakistan goes back to the history of India, As you may know, the Ahmadiyya movement was founded in northern India in a very small hamlet called Qadian. Qadian is the name of a settlement, a very small hamlet, That is where the community was founded. And from that time, there was civil persecution, which is a normal thing for any religion to face persecution. But then this persecution took a state-sponsored picture right from 1974. So from 1974, it is not only the clergy, the mullahs in Pakistan who oppose Ahmadis or other groups, you see, who are opposed to Ahmadiyya belief, but it is the state which is also part and accomplice to that persecution. And now the situation is, I'm just giving you rough statistics. Over 3,000 Ahmadis have been sentenced, under 298. And several hundred have been sentenced under 295, which is a blasphemy penal code. And then, as you must have, you are a journalist, you must have got reports, over 400 Ahmadis have been murdered just because they claim to be members of this community. And they claim to be Muslims, They would not budge, even if they were killed, to change their faith or belief. So this is the situation, and this has become more tight, during the past couple of years, because what they are doing now, they are marking the houses of Ahmadis and targeting them, stalking and watching where the head of the house goes, what they do. And then so many have been killed, doctors, engineers, very professional people who were there to serve the nation, to serve the country. So these people, because they had no life in that country, they could not get a job, their children could not get...
Yes, I understand, yeah.
You understand that, isn't it? Yes, yeah. So that is why they were finding ways to escape that very, very horrifying, violent opposition to them under the state law. And the police are also supporting the clergy. The judiciary is supporting them. They have no future in any field, where they could lead a normal life. So those are the factors which bring Ahmadis out, not only to Sri Lanka, but to other capitals as well in Southeast Asia and other parts of the world as well, So they are here now, but they are not encouraged by the community to come out, to seek asylum. We like our people to be resilient, to be tolerant, to bear, the brunt of whatever the opposition, because this opposition they are bearing for the sake of their faith, not for anything else, and we don't encourage them. But when they come here, we don't directly intervene into their asylum. We don't go and support their asylum. They are here, but as a community, because we are a highly organized community with a very strong center in London, UK, and we have chapters all over. We have a chapter here in Sri Lanka as well. And this is one of our teachings, that we should all live, in a bonded brotherhood, try to help each other in difficult times, and try to be compassionate and kind to each other. And this is what the community is doing. These people, when they come here, the community is not accommodating them here in the mosque. They all find their own accommodation. They hire, places here and there. So they live on their own. Probably their families support them, because the community itself does not have any funding. Of course, we do whatever we can in charity, and we try to help the needy, as much as we can. But in that case, we do not make any discrimination. Whoever is a needy, whether he is Ahmadi, whether he is non-Ahmadi, whether he is Christian, whoever it is, we help them. And as you have visited our small school here, this school is also open, to everyone who wishes to bring their children for some education here. So we are trying our best. We have some homeopathy medicine clinic, where we try to give them homeopathy medicine. Or in cases, where people are very sick, we try to provide them, medical help, in whatever way we can. So we are trying to provide them the support, but this support is not the answer, to this dilemma and this tragic situation, which also Sri Lanka is facing, because Sri Lanka has this large group which are here in the country, and obviously Sri Lanka is a very hospitable, very generous, very humanitarian country. The government is very humanitarian, and they have great consideration.
Have you, what was the purpose of your visit this time?
Well, this time my main purpose was to address a peace symposium in Malaysia, which I did last week. And now I was coming here to greet and meet, the new asylum seekers who have come here, and try to see how we can help them at the international level as well. There are some destitutes who have, I was talking to a few people just a while ago, and they have absolutely no one, to help them or assist them or support them. So we try to notice such cases. And then there are certain governments, like who are much more receptive to asylum seekers than other governments, So we try to find some way to alleviate their suffering and their pain through which they are going at the moment, And this pain and suffering is not only to Ahmadis. This is to all asylum seekers, whether they are Christians, whether they are Shias, whether they are Balochis from Pakistan. And as you know, in the region, there are asylum seekers from so many different countries. And now asylum seekers are coming over from Syria and from Somalia. And so many, you know more than I do in that case. So this, yes.
Yeah. So, apart from meeting the asylum seekers and the members of your community, have you met anyone else?
Yes, I've met. I always have a meeting with UNHCR to appreciate the support that they are giving to asylum seekers under very difficult circumstances. As His Excellency the Commissioner Abbas told you, their resources are very limited. You see, I mean, like all other international organizations, the UNHCR is also suffering, from the impact of economic recession and the shortage of funds. So they are not having staff to deal with hundreds and hundreds of cases. So what is happening is, in a few years ago, 3-4 years ago, it would just take about 6 months, for a case to be resolved. And now it's taking 2 years and even more, you see. So this is the situation.
I understand that, who else? Were you able to meet any government officials, maybe?
Well, this time, as I said, my visit was not specially for any such purpose, because it is very short. I'm going away tomorrow. So it was just a couple of days, but because I came to know that the people were coming, in larger number. So I was just telling my people today here, the asylum seekers, that they should advise their friends and their relatives and other people not to come, because the crowd is already very big, you see, and it is difficult for UNHCR to handle this crowd. So if more people will come, there will be more problems, more difficulties for everyone. So
will they be asking them to go to different destinations or to stay back in Pakistan? Have you advised your people to ask their community members who are still in Pakistan to stay back, or to choose different destinations as well?
Actually, you see, as I was telling you right earlier on, we do not encourage or advise people to leave Pakistan. When they leave Pakistan, nobody knows, where they are going. But obviously, they have friends or relatives, in different capitals. Some members of the family who are for asylum in Thailand or Malaysia or Hong Kong or here or, wherever. So they usually seek, their advice. I want to come out as well. Where should I go? The normal human nature, you see. So what I was telling people here in Sri Lanka is that if there are people from Pakistan who consult them or seek their advice or tell them, you are there, we also want to come. So I was telling them that they should not encourage others to come, you see, and try to hold on until, we have some respite in this big crowd of asylum seekers and their cases are moving, at a reasonable pace. Then obviously in future, God knows what the situation will be, what the world will be like. Maybe, the root causes of this asylum seeking and persecution will be nipped. That's what my wish and hope, that United Nations and countries, who are friendly to Pakistan should try to put some pressure on that country, to repeal such laws which are blatantly discriminating against their own nationals, because all these asylum seekers who are here from Pakistan, they are the nationals of Pakistan. They do not come out to degrade or denigrate the name of their country. They have respect for their country. But the conditions in the country are so poor, so bad, that they have no future, they have no life, they cannot, do anything for the future of their children. So those are the causes which have to be dealt with. We should not look at the surface of the problem, We should try to look at the bottom of the problem. What is the problem? Why these people are running out of their country? So those are the questions, which people like yourself, respectable, members of the press here should raise, so that we try to, put the situation right forever. and not just go on, observing this stream of destitute people, and trying to do a little bit of charity here and a little bit of charity there. How long can we, continue to see humanity suffering like that? So this suffering must come to an end. And this
so
is
in that light, have you met the Pakistan High Commission, officials of the Pakistan High Commission?
Well, we meet them regularly. I come from London, as you know, and I meet these officials very regularly in the European Union. I meet them in the UN Human Rights Council. The UN Human Rights Council in Geneva. They had the UPR, Universal Periodic Review, as you would know. Malaysia was, and Sri Lanka was also having a UPR, and other countries also have UPR. And when there is Pakistan UPR and other sessions, I'm always there, and we meet Pakistanis at very high level, and we do our best. But obviously, you see, we are a victimized party, and the government of Pakistan is not prepared to pay any attention to our pleas, that we make. But then there are lots of resolutions, passed by the European Union, passed by the State Department of the USA, passed by the United Nations, condemning such atrocities, such aggressive violence and opposition and persecution of the people of Pakistan. And this is not only denial of their fundamental freedom of religion, but this is also denial of their international fundamental basic civic rights. Because Ahmadis in Pakistan cannot vote. Ahmadis in Pakistan, even cannot get a passport and ID card unless, they sign a declaration on a form denouncing and condemning, the founder of their own faith and religion, and trying to swear against, the leaders of their own community. They have to sign that in order to get an ID card, or in order to get a passport, or in order to be registered, on the register of voters. So, I mean, you can't imagine such acts against humanity in the present times and age, We are now living in the 21st century, and the world is totally different. And we have to make the world which entire humanity aspires to see, a peaceful world where there is tolerance, where there is affinity, where there is fraternity, and where people of this planet work together, to acquire lasting peace and prosperity.
Yes. Thank you so much for talking to me. I have enough information. What I would like to do is actually to get your email. If you can send me your email address via SMS, I can send you a few follow-up questions so that I have a comprehensive answer for this next week.
Definitely. That will be wonderful. I will always cooperate with you. And as you have said, I will just get my email forwarded to you. And I'll be very happy to receive your questions and whatever information you need. And I hope, in my own humble way, whatever I have said, you will try to put across to your people in this country, so that they are also aware, of the background and the important. This is not for my personal, image or anything, but this is for the good of humanity and good for Sri Lanka and the people. Thank you very much. It was loving to talk to you, and I wish I had met you, but I hope there will be some opportunity in future.
Yes, in the future, yes.
And I hope you will visit UK one of these days, and if you are there, please do give me a call, and we will arrange to meet you. Okay, then? Okay, all the best.
Okay, then send me the email, please. Okay, thank you.
Please send me my email on SMS.